reading to end on. Okay, so again, that's the last assigned reading. Everything else is extra, is up to you. Um, and that brings me to this next part. Donc, le Petit Prince, enregistrement. So for the end of the semester, UW Green Bay has asked that I grade you for this quarter. Uh, does that mean that we have intense grading? No, it just means that they want me to keep up with grades and give you some assignments throughout the quarter. And they wanted me to do a quarter assessment at the very end. They let me know it doesn't have to be a final exam, which is very nice because that would go against what we're practicing at Verona. Um, so I wanted to do something that was kind of in between, something that helped you kind of bring everything together with your reading of The Little Prince, something that helped me understand where you're at with French, how much you've mastered French through this class, how much I've helped you with that, how much I've succeeded or fallen short as your teacher, um, and just a check-in, and then also kind of a marker for okay, this is the end of the semester, this is the final thing, and you're kind of done after that. It's out of 30 points, and it's a media recording. So what you'll be doing is when you go to submit assignment in Canvas, you'll be recording your voice, and you'll have notes that you can refer to, right? Maybe you'll write them on paper, or maybe it'll be, um, hopefully it's on paper or something, but not on your iPad, because you'll probably be using your iPad or your phone on Canvas to submit to record this. Uh, and so you're welcome to have notes and stuff, but you'll be recording using either your phone or your iPad or your computer. You'll be recording your voice and submitting that directly here to Canvas. So in this voice recording, you'll answer in French several questions about your reading of The Little Prince. Please be sure to submit your voice recording sometime on or before midnight on May 27th. Um, and so you've got lots of time to do this. You've got a full week-ish. So please take your time with it. You're welcome to do it immediately. If you're really ready to jump in, great. Knock it out of the park and be done with it. If you want more time to prepare, you can. Um, and so what I'm doing is I'm asking you three questions, and I'd love for you to respond as thoroughly as possible to those three questions. So, numéro 1, décris le petit prince. Il a quelles qualités? Quelles sont ses valeurs? Utilise le vocabulaire du module 3. Trois mots minimum. So here I'm asking you to describe the little prince, right? And so you'll answer all three of these questions in French. And for this first question, I'm just saying, okay, well, describe the little prince, right? What's he like? What's he look like? What are his qualities, right? And I'm specifically trying to get you to use Module 3 vocabulary, right? The vocabulary around love and friendship that we learned. And I think that's a really rich vocabulary, so I hope you're able to go back to that and draw on that a little bit. And again, I want you to use at least three words from that vocabulary. So words like amitié or amour or compassion or things like that, right? So try to think, okay, well, how could you best describe the Little Prince in complete sentences, right? In French. And then numéro 2, ce roman présente l'idée que les enfants ont une vision plus exacte du monde que les grandes personnes. Qu'est-ce qu'il faut faire pour retrouver cette perspective naïve? Utilise l'expression du subjonctif et le subjonctif. Deux expressions au minimum. So here I'm saying, okay, well, this novel gives the idea that, okay, children have a more accurate view of the world, or like just a superior view of the world compared to adults. And so this is a little bit more open-ended, but it's the idea of, well, what do adults have to do, right, to get back that perspective? What are some things that we have to do after reading The Little Prince to see things in a way similar to The Little Prince? What do we have to do to pass that test, the narrator's test, remember, of the boa, the open boa constrictor or the closed boa constrictor? What are some things that we have to do in order to see a boa constrictor and not a hat? Just to give you an idea. And so for me, I thought this was a really great way to use the subjunctive. Okay, you got to do this, you got to do that. And I'll follow this up with some examples of sentence starters to help you. Okay, so at least two expressions of the subjunctive. And I want to see you be able to use the subjunctive. So finally, in 3 to 10 sentences. So it's really open-ended. You can be very brief with 3 sentences, or you can go on a little farther. Dans 3 à 10 phrases, fais un résumé du roman jusqu'à présent. Qu'est-ce qui s'est passé? Puis, fais des hypothèses sur ce qui viendra dans les chapitres suivants. So in 3 to 10 sentences, give a synopsis of the novel. Give kind of a summary. Okay, so what's happened so far? What's happened so far? And then what do you think will happen? And here I want to see use the past tense, maybe the imparfait, maybe the passé composé, and then thinking about the futur, right? What do you think will happen? Um, okay. And so to help you feel confident completing this, I gave you some sentence starters, right, to give you an idea of kind of what I was looking for. So you could start with le petit prince est, le petit prince n'est pas, right? Really straightforward. Dans ce roman, le petit prince représente la générosité. I don't know, right? A quality, right? So there's this idea of the little prince represents a certain quality, a virtue. For number two, with the subjunctive, you can start with in order to find one's imagination again, or to find that naive perspective of the little prince, il est essentiel que les adultes, je ne sais pas, hein, il vaut mieux que, si on veut retrouver la perspective naïve, je doute que, right? So draw on those expressions, right, to really express yourself. And then for a summary, you might want to use things like d'abord, dans ce roman, il y a. So first off, in this novel, uh, there are so many characters. There are several characters. These are the characters. Selon moi, à mon avis, so in my opinion, or according to me, this will happen in the following chapters. Okay? So hopefully that gets you started. Hopefully that gets you thinking a little bit. And I hope that these questions are provocative in that they really help you bring everything together, right? So I really hope that they're helpful in your processing the reading that you've done so far, and also helpful in kind of feeling like, okay, I can do these things. I've learned all this French over the past 4 years or so at Verona, and now you can bring it all together without writing a 40-page essay. You can bring them all together in relatively simple answers, just using this really rich language that you've got, that you've built a proficiency with. And I hope these sentence starters really help you get going. I know that it can be really hard to start with like a blank page, right? There's the fear of the blank page. And so I really hope these sentence starters help you kind of get that spring, right? That jump start. Um, And I think for Wednesday's class, I'll offer up another reading if you want, but I think I'll mostly focus on giving you these supports and kind of going over this a second time to make sure it's really, really clear. Hopefully, in the meantime, you'll have people will have gotten in touch with questions, and I can answer those too for Wednesday's class. And then for grading it, here's how I'll be grading it. So it's out of 30 points. Half of the points are did you answer all 3 questions completely and in French, and were they thorough, right? So I think it would be really easy to go in and say, oui, le petit prince est sympa. Boom, number one. Deux, il est essentiel que nous soyons imaginatifs. Boom. Like, no, those are really that's not even doing the minimum. It's not even hitting the marks, right? So to get full marks, you really want to kind of be as thorough as you can. I'm not expecting a full essay or anything, but like you want to be thorough, right? Um, develop your thoughts a little bit. And again, I've given you kind of checkpoints. So, okay, give me a few sentences instead of just one sentence for each of the questions, right? Language proficiency. So that's 7 out of 30 points. So did you clearly demonstrate proper use of the subjunctive? Did you make ample use of the Module 3 vocabulary? So not just il est sympa, which is just really simple vocabulary that you've known since French 1, but like, did you really draw on a few different words from the Module 3? vocabulary? And then finally, did you clearly demonstrate the use of several tenses in summarizing the readings? So not just the passé composé, but also the imparfait and maybe the futur, right? Uh, and then communication, 8 out of 30 points. Was your spoken French mostly understandable? And so here, am I looking for a flawless, fluent French accent? No. That's something that'll come later on. I really look forward to hearing from y'all. Uh, that's like my dream. A few years from now, and you've gone to France, or maybe you've taught in France, or you've lived in France or something, and you come back and you've got this great accent, and you're like, oh, Mr. Hare, I can speak perfectly now, and great. We're not there yet though. So so for me, what I'm asking for is not a flawless accent, but are you mostly understandable to a sympathetic listener? And did you strictly respond in French, right? So I really don't want to be here in English. You can do this. You can do this. So don't let any of that English slip through. And then did you speak without large pauses or breaks between thoughts? So maybe you answer number one and then you take a break, and then there's a couple seconds of silence and then you answer number two, right? That's cool, right? But if you start off your sentence with le petit prince est sympa et gentil, like no. So try to avoid that. Try to get really familiar with your notes. Um, try to get really comfortable with what you're trying to say so that you can bring it out in kind of a fluid way. Okay, and that's all I got for today. I hope all this is clear, and I look forward to clarifying more on Wednesday's class. So I hope that y'all get in touch with questions, and I'll spend Wednesday's class kind of clarifying, going into more depth, answering your questions about things that aren't clear in this. Until then, take good care. I miss y'all, and mercredi.